Now at 6, we have some KWWL drone video shot last night after the storm, showing you some aerial video in Prairieburg.
In many areas of the KWWL viewing area, we saw tornado and high wind damage. Prairieburg saw most of the severe damage in Linn County.
And the southwest corner of Iowa also had some strong storms and tornado touchdowns. Storm chasers caught many on video or photos like this one out of Stewart.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Ron Steele.
And I'm Abby Turpin. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and take a look at this massive tornado that hit south of Prairieburg. Pretty incredible video. This video was sent to us in by a viewer. Now, as the tornado spins, you can see some debris up in the cloud. We now know the tornado was an EF2 as it tore through the town. Also tonight, I want to show you video again from the KWWL drone over that small Linn County community of Prairieburg. About 178 residents in northern Linn County, according to the latest census. Now, you can see in this aerial perspective some of the damage to the homes and at least one business that we're going to be talking about. We also know, unfortunately, one injury to a woman during that severe weather last evening. And we do have Team 7 coverage tonight of the storms that rocked much of eastern Iowa. Storm Track 7 Chief Meteorologist Mark Schnackenberg back in the forecast center, though. He's tracking everything. That's right. And we also have Storm Track 7 reporters Elizabeth Amanieh and Kristen Rogers. They are live in Prairieburg, but we are going to start things off with Mark.
We had that couple of tornadoes yesterday. Most of them were in the southwestern portion of the state. So far, we've had reports of 5. One just coming in now of an EF1 that is in Carbon, Iowa. That is in the southwestern southwestern part of the state, and the one in eastern Iowa, that was in Prairieburg. This is in preliminary EF2. The National Weather Service survey team will go back out tomorrow and do some more survey damage of the damage there. Right now, it's estimated EF2. More details to come on this. Now, as for storms now, we are still tracking some storms. Some of these are producing some very heavy rain. We've got a flash flood warning that is in effect for portions of Grundy County, Butler County, as well as Hardin and Franklin County, as these storms haven't moved very much, but dropped some very heavy rain. Farther to the east, we're looking at a few more showers and a couple of thunderstorms along and north of Highway 20, and one that's starting to approach the Dubuque area with some rain. If you look off to the west, if you're in Dubuque, you'll start to see the sky starting to darken up. Right now, it is just in the form of rain. There's some severe weather out west. We'll let you know if it's going to impact us around here later tonight, coming up in just a bit.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Well, many people living in the very small town of Prairieburg saw the biggest hit and the most damage left behind. Storm Track 7's Elizabeth Amanieh is live in Prairieburg right now. Let's check in with her. Elizabeth.
Yeah, Abby, really a tough sight here in Prairieburg. Right here is actually some of the worst damage we've seen on the ground all day. But I can tell you the community here hasn't changed one bit. Their morale just as high as last night. A community caught right in the eye of the tornado, determined to work through the storm's destruction.
It seemed like it was about 3, 4, 5 minutes.
You can see the tornado's path ripping through and crushing this cornfield, hitting hard within minutes, but leaving the people here with hours of cleanup.
We're pretty fortunate that most of the farmers around here own a lot of their own heavy equipment, and their excavators and their skid loaders, and they're running all over the place.
Sorting through broken trees and mangled tin. Tom Walker's house of more than 50 years taking a direct hit.
It come quick, and when it hit, it was just big bang and it was over.
In other parts of town, there isn't much left standing. The McNamara's longtime family barn and machine shed caught right in the eye of the tornado, sending Doris McNamara to the hospital. Family says McNamara was standing right here in her doorway. When she went to close her garage door, that's when she saw that fierce storm system hit.
As far as I know, she's going to be all right, thank God.
Thank God.
Because to see this, you wouldn't think somebody lived through it.
McNamara's niece says the tornado tore right through her aunt's home, destroying years of memories. But the family's somehow able to save these pictures, much like the rest of this community, holding on to what they still have. And thankfully, no deaths have been reported here. Day one of cleanup is coming to a close, but this is just the start for a very long process moving forward. Live in Prairieburg, Elizabeth Amanieh, News 7 KWWL.
All right, Elizabeth, thank you very much for that live report. Now let's go ahead and take another look right now at the KWWL drone footage of some of that video last night in Prairieburg. Again, this shot over Prairieburg where the EF2, it has now been designated as an EF2 tornado when it tore through the town.
And of course, with the storm last night, damage across the entire KWWL viewing area, very, very common. Look at this video. A home has been destroyed, many trees uprooted, and even one time a tree on top of a car. Look at that situation there.
And this photo right here, taken last night, sent in by a viewer in Prairieburg as well. You can see the tornado in the background with a storm siren and a fast-moving windmill blade.
Storm Track 7's Kristen Rogers joins us live right now. She's from outside Nagel Grain Company in Prairieburg.
Ron, you can see behind me this mess here, but this is actually much improved from what it was when I was here last night. Many people spending all day today helping out, but unfortunately, this wasn't the first time that the company has dealt with something like this. It's a day of cleanup for Nagel Grain after a tornado tore through, leaving much of the company that buys and sells grain in shambles.
You come in here and see something that you've helped build and worked for 25 years. You know, you think you're going to retire here and you got plenty to come back to. And it's very hard.
Sadly, the second time weather has left the family business with a mess. 11 years ago was the first. Now metal grain bins left in knots, others blocks away.
How it landed 2 blocks up and didn't hit any other structures. It landed directly right in the street between 2 buildings.
The company's trucks also taking a beating. Empty semi-trailers, I'm told, weighed around 12,000 pounds, thrown like toys across the street into this field. Despite the magnitude of the tornado, an American flag hangs on tight, perhaps foreshadowing the strength the Prairieburg community has and the family business that will overcome once again.
My wife's grandfather started this, and you know, I couldn't even tell you how many years ago. I know my father-in-law took over in 1980, and then 3 years ago he turned it over to me and my wife.
The company is still able to function in the meantime. I'm told several of the drivers actually keep their trucks at home, so they weren't here parked on site when the tornado ripped through. In fact, 6 of them are out and about today delivering feed. Live in Prairieburg, Kristen Rogers, News 7, KWWL.
Now, Kristen, that's really an inspiring cleanup effort which is underway there in Linn County, that's for sure.
Well, rain came falling down hard and fast with the storms, causing some flooding, as you see there. You can see flash flooding occurred near Maynard, washing out part of the road as it gushed through the field at Twin Bridges Park.
Also tonight, I want to tell you about quite a bit of damage found anywhere as the area of KWWL viewing area as the storm rolled through last night. I want to show you John McDonald's farm. This is about 10 miles west of Monticello over in Jones County. Now, John told us he lost a barn, a couple of sheds, several trees, obviously a vehicle there heavily damaged there. Part of that truck crushed by debris during the storm. Both houses on the property sustained a lot of damage. What he thinks was the tornado hit them in the blink of an eye. What happened there, I'll tell you, it can happen very, very quickly.
That's right, and we're not done yet. We're going to continue talking about the storms in the southwest corner of Iowa. This storm moved through the southwest part of the state, producing many funnel clouds and tornado touchdowns. Now, this video right here was caught on camera by a storm chaser as it ripped through Sydney. As far as we know, no injuries were reported in that area.
And yet another tornado touchdown in southwest Iowa near the small town of Stewart. One of 5 across the state yesterday. These photos captured by an actual storm chaser who said the tornado then dissipated after about 10 minutes on the ground. Pretty big one right there. Now, these storms, there have been a confirmation of 3 touchdowns, high winds, some hail, up to baseball-size hail over there by Stewart. Several homes obviously damaged or in some cases even destroyed.
Continuing coverage now as we turn to some other stories. Police are looking for a man who they think might have information about the death of an eastern Iowa cab driver. Ricky Lilly, a driver for Yellow Cab, was found dead in his car early Wednesday morning. Police are investigating his death as a homicide. Lilly was found by a coworker in his car outside of an apartment complex in Iowa City, and now police are looking for this man. They are calling him a person of interest. If you have any information, if you recognize this man, please call police.
Continuing coverage of a bizarre story in Waterloo. One man is facing several arson charges tonight. He's accused of starting 5 different buildings on fire early this morning in the city of Waterloo. Here's a look at all the locations overnight in the city. The fires happened over a period of nearly 3 hours, and Waterloo Fire and Rescue crews were out fighting the fires. Waterloo Police, thanks to Ennis Merjak, a Waterloo police officer, was off duty. They helped arrest this man, 37-year-old Justin Simon. silos in connection to this arson spree of 5 buildings. With that in mind, let's go live right now to KWWL's McLeod Hagem and Max in the newsroom.
Well, from Waterloo Police to fire and rescue crews, more than 25 first responders were put to the test in a matter of hours this morning. Not only were the fires contained, but police say they even got a confession from the person they say did it.
5 different fires, 3 abandoned homes, 1 vacant commercial building, and another business, all set on fire in the early morning hours, 20 to 30 minutes apart. Waterloo Police Chief Dan Trelka says the collaborative efforts between police and fire crews was remarkable.
It's amazing that how extensive this situation was and how quickly it was resolved. It came to the conclusion that we're at right now.
Waterloo Police Chief Dan Trelka says an off-duty police officer was on his way home from work when he noticed the fire on Logan Avenue. He also noticed a man walking away from the scene who looked suspicious, so he called Waterloo Police to report the incident. Moments later, Waterloo police officers were able to arrest Silos right here along East 4th Street. They took him to the police station where he later admitted to setting those fires.
And if I'm not mistaken, we did find some evidence in the area where he was apprehended.
On top of arson, Silos was also cited for public intoxication. Right now, Waterloo Fire Chief Pat Treelor busy investigating the motive and evidence linking him to the arson spree.
We feel that more than likely an accelerant was used, if not on all the fires, certainly 2 or 3 of them. We did work our canine dogs, so our fire marshal did take samples at least 3 of the scenes. We'll send those off to the state lab to see what product is on there, if any.
Like authorities said, police found evidence linking Silos to the fires where he was arrested, so he could have been on his way to start even more fires when he was stopped by police. Live in the newsroom, McLeod Hageman, News 7, KWWL.
Okay, Mac, thank you very much. Obviously, a public safety danger last night into the officers, but it's really too early to tell exactly how much damage was caused because most of those buildings, 4 or 5 of them, were abandoned.
Coming up on your news at 6, listen up parents. After an area daycare was forced to close its doors, a new daycare company is coming to one eastern Iowa city.
We'll talk about that, but first of all, let's take a live look once again at very active Storm Track 7 live Doppler radar on your screen tonight. Chief Meteorologist Mark Schnackenberg. Complete forecast looking ahead. That's coming up.
This is KWWL News at 6 with Ron Steele, Abby Turpin, Storm Track 7 Chief Meteorologist Mark Schnackenberg, and Sports with Rick Coleman. We've got you covered. Download the Storm Track 7 app today. Now your Storm Track 7 forecast on KWWL.
Survey teams have been busy all day today and across Iowa, eastern Iowa, southwestern Iowa. So far, 5 tornadoes confirmed in southwestern Iowa, EF0 to EF1. So far, 1 confirmed here in eastern Iowa, and that was in Prairieburg. There may be some more as the teams go out and do some surveys. The survey team in Clayton County into southwestern Wisconsin, they only saw straight line wind damage. This is an EF2 tornado that was in Prairieburg, central city to Prairieburg. And again, this may get upgraded if they do some more surveying here tomorrow that indicates that there's damage with winds that were a lot stronger. So right now it's an EF2 with winds estimated between 111 and 135 miles per hour. Again, more details to come as the survey team from the National Weather Service heads out there tomorrow. Tracking a few thunderstorms still at this hour across parts of eastern Iowa. Nothing widespread, but a few showers and thunderstorms. This one here has been producing a lot of rain over the last hour and a half, and so we have that flash flood warning that is in effect for parts of Butler, Franklin, Grundy, and Hardin counties. And we're still looking at some heavy rain and maybe even some small hail with the core of that northwest of Iowa Falls. A few rain showers farther to the east, an isolated rumble of thunder or 2, and also a couple of showers just to the west of the Dubuque area, and these continue to track toward the east. Now, the big picture here showing a lot more active weather out to our west, some severe thunderstorms here. These are forecast to move east, but weaken and pretty much fall apart as we get into the overnight hours. So we're not anticipating any severe weather, but some locally heavy rain still a possibility as we get through the evening hours. Out to our west is a watch that is in effect, a severe thunderstorm watch. But again, as the storms move to the east, they are forecast to weaken as they move into central and eastern Iowa. So we may may have an isolated severe storm here this evening, but again, very isolated in fashion. As we get into the day tomorrow, slight chance for a storm as we get into the morning hours. As we look at our Storm Track 7 live weather network camera, just on the north side of this shot, we're looking at some clouds and the rain. And temperatures right now in Waterloo, 69, but in Tama, it's 80 degrees, 78 in Iowa City, 76 in Elkader. Showers and a few thunderstorms again are going to weaken as they move east during the overnight hours. An isolated shower storm in the morning tomorrow. Otherwise, as we get into the afternoon, it dries out, and look for the humidity level to finally drop as we get into tomorrow night and into the day on Saturday. Temperatures tonight in the 60s for overnight lows. A few thunderstorms possible, and they'll be around in the morning tomorrow, drying out in the afternoon. 70s to about 80 for highs. And your city-by-city forecast does include a nice day here on Saturday. A couple of storms possible late in the afternoon on Sunday, and some isolated storms here into early next week. And the humidity and temperatures will increase as we get closer to 90 by Thursday and again on Friday.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. A quick programming note. Due to last night's severe weather, some primetime programming was covered up. So set your DVRs for overnight Saturday into Sunday. Little Big Shots Forever Young will air at 1:30 Sunday morning, followed by 2 episodes of The Carmichael Show, one at 2:30 and another at 3 that morning. Well, a few months after a daycare is forced to close after a drug scandal, a new one is taking its place.
Well, it's very encouraging news, Abby, for the people of Waverly. In fact, KWWL reporter Taylor Bailey was in Waverly today at the new Discoveries Learning Center, getting a look inside this new facility. She joins us live in the studio right now. Taylor.
Ron, Little Learners Daycare in Waverly closed a few months ago after the director was accused of doing meth. The sudden closing taking one more care facility from the town. Now Discoveries Learning Center is taking over that building, adding new toys and equipment for kids. The daycare is accepting 2-, 3-, and 4-year-olds. Despite the reason for Little Learners closing, the new owner is hopeful parents will enroll their kids and have an open mind.
I would say just knowing that we've given the building a fresh facelift, we would encourage people to come out and come with fresh eyes and see what we have and see if this is the right fit for them and their family.
The daycare is also offering preschool to 20 kids starting in August. The new daycare is having an open house tonight, allowing the community and parents to tour and ask questions about the new facility. Parents I talked to today are excited another daycare option is back in Waverly. Taylor Bailey, News 7, KWWL.
Taylor, thanks very much. Well, that's really good news. In fact, the new Discoveries Learning Center will be opening on August 23rd.
Absolutely. As a new mom myself, I know that that is great news for so many parents out there. Well, for more information, also, you can go to our website, kwwl.com. Well, coming up, NBA star Jimmy Butler has a unique way of confronting his critics.
And the ailing Chicago Cubbies battle on with some key pieces missing from their World Series team.
Now, KWWL Sports.
Good evening, I'm Rick Coleman. Chicago Cubs finishing their series today with the Washington Nationals without all-star third baseman Chris Bryant, who injured his ankle last night. Now, Bryant is out today and will not return to action before next week. Well, the Cubbies looking to even this 4-game series, leading 1-0 in the first. Who says Miguel Montero is the only Cub catcher you can run on? The Nats. Trey Turner gets his 34th stolen base of the year after an errant throw from Wilson Contreras. Later in the inning, Washington's Ryan Zimmerman rips a double to the right field corner. Bryce Harper, all the way from first base, is going to score. But right now, the Cubbies are leading this thing 5-4 in the ninth. We'll have highlights tonight at 10. Kansas City Royals and Detroit Tigers finishing their 3-game series in Motown. The Tigers on their game in the bottom of the first. That's 2 on for Justin Upton, belting his 15th home of the season to center field off Jake Junis. Detroit leads at 3-0. And then in the fourth, the Tigers' Andrew Omine smashes a 2-run blast to right off Jake Junis. Tough day for Junis. Detroit rolls to a 7-3 win. One of the big moves made last week during the NBA draft was the Minnesota Timberwolves acquiring all-star guard Jimmy Butler in a trade with the Chicago Bulls. Today, Butler spoke with the Minnesota media for the first time since the trade, and in a question asking him if he was frustrated from the criticism coming out of Chicago, Butler gave this surprising response.
I'm fine. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. But with that being said, my phone's in my back pocket right now. If whoever has anything to say to me, feel free. 773-899-6071. So if you want to interview, there you have it. Please do.
I gave him a call. He didn't answer. Be careful who you give your number to. Jimmy Butler's phone has been ringing constantly since the press conference. And tonight, primetime league basketball returning to the Cedar Valley. The games have already begun at the Cedar Valley Sports Complex in downtown Waterloo. We'll have some highlights and talk to some of the players tonight at 10. We'll be right back.